You're welcome. It's June 4. We've begun June 2018. Who knew we would be here? But thank God for our lives. We're grateful for your company on the AM show. We're on till 9. And my name is Mama View Swawadi. The missing guy is here this morning. Good morning, Roland.
Well, good morning, Mama View. How are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. Yours?
Well, it was okay. Typically, starting on a high note and always ending on a low note when you know that you have to come to work. But you have to
It's not low for me, it's high. I love to do this every morning.
Well, yeah, that's it. So
maybe your motivation today, Roland, direct it to yourself. So go ahead. What's the motivation?
Well, definitely. It's about you not being comfortable with the situation you find yourself. And it's something that we also took from one of the sermons that we had been listening to on radio and on TV as well from a notable pastor in our country. We're talking about you not being comfortable with your environment and the situation you find yourself. Because typically in our environment, in our country, we tend to have certain trepidations or perhaps fears when we encounter challenges or hindrances in our way. Because we all tend to set goals and objectives. And when those goals have not been met, what do? Do we say that we've given up, or we are going to reinvigorate ourselves, have a lot more introspection, and get to meet our challenges head on? And that is why our motivation this morning is about us doing more introspection, questioning where we find ourselves, how we are meeting those objectives and goals, and whether we're giving up or not. Because in situations where you have challenges, what do? Do you say that where I find myself is how far and where I can be, or despite those challenges, you want to just take a certain breather, get to motivate yourself through the successes of others around you, and say that you will definitely get to where you ultimately need to be. And we hope that we can all motivate ourselves this morning, and despite the challenges we may find ourselves in, whether it is a marriage that is going bad, or perhaps that degree that is getting long for you to acquire, or that business idea that is just not taken off the table. So in order for all of us to make sure that we get to that same pedestal, let's just look around us. Let's get ourselves, get our loins, and get to motivate ourselves. Thanks for joining us this morning. As always, throughout the next 3 hours, you can get interactive on Facebook regularly. Here's our page on Facebook, JoyNews on TV it is, and also you can watch us live through our channel, Majorline TV.
All right, we'll start off with the news in a bit. After the news, we'll bring you the review. We'll be joined by A.B. Bright during our news review segment this morning. Why? Well, today is June 4. It's actually the 39th anniversary of that coup. Forget about the fact that it was overshadowed 2 years later, 31st December. But she's here. She's young. She's a member of the NDC. She's part of the organizers. I wonder what she wants young people to learn from June 4. That's our conversation with A.B. Bright this morning, Roland.
We know A.B. Bright had been a parliamentary candidate for the NDC in the Tema Central constituency in the last elections, but it will be the second time she's on the show. Is that not the case?
Yeah, that will be. We loved her when she joined us the first time.
Yeah,
it will
definitely
be fun this morning.
Well, I really loved her during that time.
Well, we also have over 500,000 candidates sitting for this year's BEC, is the Basic Education Certificate Examinations, and we've got 2 parents joining us in the studio for a conversation. When your child is writing their first major examinations, what kind of support can you give them? What's the expectation? We know there's also been a delay in selecting the senior high schools, even though there's been an extension from the GES. So we'll have the parents tell us from their perspective. Our prayers are with all the children who are sitting for this year's examinations.
Well, so for all the preparations that you parents are going through, what would you say is the effort that you're putting in? And Mama V, last week I was doing pitching. I went to one of the companies and spoke to a marketing manager who said, hey, please, today is my last day. I'm taking the time off for my little girl who is writing her BEC. And I thought that was a good thing for a parent, especially her being a single parent of some 4 children.
Nice. So we'll find out from parents, if your child is sitting for an exam like that, what can you do? Perhaps you're watching us, your child is writing this year's BC. We can take from the experiences that will be shared on the show. But the whole of last week, we profiled schools in the various regions who are competing in this year's National Science and Maths Quiz. Indeed, we brought you the originals, and we're continuing this week. But we've got two great people joining us on the show, including the quiz mistress herself, live here on the AM show. The National Science and Maths Quiz is going to be launched officially later today. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more.
And you shouldn't forget that JoyNews is your official channel for the National Science and Maths Quiz. We know that 2 years ago it was at Isadel, and then we also had Prempe winning from the last year. So this year, which school is it going to be? And we'll see when the quiz mistress herself is right here in the studio. Ask her some few questions and get to test us. You know, Mama V did science. Mama, did you do science?
I did science for a term.
You did general science?
I did science for a term. Then I went to general arts. Yeah.
Running away.
What, you want to put me on the spot?
Nobody turned.
We'll have the quiz mistress organize a quiz this morning. Roland and myself, live on the show. It's maths and science.
Well, not me. I don't think so. Also on the show today, we'll talk about mining activities in some parts of our country, Ghana. It has affected many residents in those affected communities as well. And then we'll be roving from a community or a neighborhood near you.
And yesterday, June 3, marked another period.
And it was raining. I thought it was just 3 years all over again.
Yeah. And we will bring you back because there was an activity there yesterday. We will bring you bits and pieces of what happened in terms of the 3rd anniversary of the June 3 disaster.
Well, for those of you who already use your own private cars, you may have been feeling the pinch already about the increment in petroleum products, and so ultimately the prices of the pumps had been adjusting upward for some time now. But those using the commercial vehicles, trotros, the buses, etc., you're not going to feel it from this morning. And it's a 10% upward adjustment. What do you say? Mamavi, typically I decided not to use my car, and so I boarded the transport right from the Ashaman overhead, got through the motorway, and I got the transport fare increased. I didn't even know what it was though, but I had my co-passengers complaining, so I said, well, that is it. And there's been a lot of talk in many of those commercial trotros about how the increment came about, and it means that we, the media, or perhaps the agencies that did the upward adjustment, need to do some education as well.
Okay, so be sure it will be chaotic in some instances, but we'll bring you a whole lot more on that particular issue. Stay with us. Roland, you've got the news in
I've
a
got
bit.
the latest news update.
I'll join him right after the news so we can review, and then you can send me your WhatsApp messages and your regular text messages as well. Stay with us. You're here on the AM show.